What's up, champions? Welcome back to another episode of the Champions Club. And I'm really, really excited about the guest that we have today. And so just keep in mind that for the Champions Club, not only do we help people level up their mindset, but we also help them level up in business. So on my right, man, today's champion, this man is a Crown Point native. He is a Ball State alumni, and he owns a video production company. He's worked with organizations or companies like LG. He's worked with Purdue University, and what, TED Talk? Did you work with TED Talk?
Yeah, TED Talks. Yeah.
TED Talk, and much, much more. I call him the lighting king, because anything that has to do with lighting, man, he'll make sure that you literally are the most clearest, crispiest person showing up on camera to represent your business. So, man, I got my main man, my brother, George Niksch, man. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me on.
Man, dude, I'm really excited about this episode, and I think it's super dope because I've been on your podcast, and now you're one of the first guests to come on my podcast.
Yeah.
And so, man, I just love how we can reciprocate. And there's been some times where I've been able to come in and learn from you. Or I've been able to come in and you've learned from me.
Yep.
Now I get a chance to learn from you, pick your brain, dude. And so
and I learned a lot on our last 2 podcasts with you. So I really appreciate all of your social media strategy.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna scoot up here too. But yeah, man. So Lakeshore Video, dude, you've been doing this for a while, and I want to say you're really amazing at what you do.
Thank you.
And so I try to structure all my podcasts like masterclasses, because when I was looking to level up at anything, whether it's the social media aspect, the personal branding, video content, I would go through YouTube, and it was hell, bro. You know, like you have people come on, and it was a bunch of fluff. And it made it hard for me to learn. So I try to make sure all of my viewers, when they come to this spot, I get the best of the best to share. So if it's a person at home watching this and they're on the couch, they can get enough information from this and enough motivation to just get started. Yeah. So with that being said, man, you've been doing the video stuff. And so for businesses right now, like, why is video more important in this era than any other era?
Yeah, so right now, I'd say video has become like the only way of getting views practically. You might get some views and some likes on like a really good photo, but as far as like even the bots and stuff, they really prefer to have video because it wants to get more information out of you. So with video, it's listening in on all of your conversations that you're having and stuff. So it's tagging keywords and, basically SEO is everything. Like, that's how you show up in search engines. Just recently, Google made it so that pretty much if you're not in the top 10 search results, you're not showing up. Nobody's going to find you. So you need to maximize your SEO, and video is the best way to do that.
So, man, this is why this dude is just, he just the well is so deep when it comes to this kind of stuff, because right off the bat, you just blew my mind. I didn't even know that. So how were you able to figure out that, like, SEO and video plays a huge part of that, and like the bots and what they're picking up? How did you come across that?
Honestly, I follow Who Is Matt on Instagram. That's like maybe a little plug for him, but he's got a huge Instagram channel. And he gives all kinds of SEO secrets and tips and stuff. And like basically, one of my buddies just sent me an article yesterday showing why basically if you're not on the top 10 search results, you're not getting found, because Google's trying to combat AI. So AI was reading, it used to be a top 100, like that's what would load is 100, and AI would read that, and they're trying to limit how much information they're giving to AI. So that's why they cut it down to 10, but nobody's going to search through multiple pages. They'll scroll down, but it's just like the psychology of like how people use their phones and stuff. They'll scroll, but they won't tap to the next page. But yeah, as far as like SEO and stuff goes, like hitting all them keywords and stuff, like in your video, Google just started indexing social media over the summer. So any kind of content that you put out on any social media platform basically now will get indexed, and it's using AI to read, every word that you're saying and use that to rank you basically.
And so for the people at home, if you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. So basically, the low level way of saying this is how you rank on Google. So if you don't have a good Google ranking, what George is saying is if you're not on page one, you don't get found. And from a guy that sold marketing sales, did digital marketing sales, I'll even double down on what you're saying. It's 100% true. But to take it a step farther, bro, if you're not even on the top 5, you're not even getting picked because you know nobody's gonna sit there and scroll. They'll instead of going to the next page, they'll just change their search.
Yeah.
And so I think what you're saying is really, really huge. And the fact that social media is getting indexed now for Google is huge because when it comes to websites, people have the conversation all the time. You know, do I even need a website? I have a social media page, and which one should I push more? Really, you should push both.
Both, yeah.
But the fact that social media is being indexed now, this is huge when it comes to video because this is where a lot of video content is going, not even on the website.
Yeah.
It's on social media. So for a business owner, knowing what you know, would you recommend them to start putting in like everything they have into video content on social?
Yeah. I mean, as far as your marketing budgets go, definitely put it into video. It's going to give you the most return, I think. I mean, some of your traditional forms of marketing still help, but I think video is like going to be one of the best bang for your buck kind of return. And then I do think you should still have a website. I think that's a good idea, but the reality is like it costs a lot of money to have all of your content hosted on your website, which is why most people host their content on something like YouTube. If it's a long form video, you put it on YouTube. Short form videos, you can put that on pretty much every application now. Every single social media, they love social, you know, the short form stuff. But I like to take my both long and short form stuff and embed that into my blog on my website. So that gives like a link to your social media pages. So it kind of helps the bots that Google has, helps them like route which social medias are yours and like kind of bring that content back into your SEO on your own page. But then you also want to do like internal linking from that blog post. If it's about a topic and you have like a whole page about that topic, like for me, podcasts, if I do a blog post about a particular podcast, I have a link that goes back to my podcast section of my website to drive more traffic over there because that's where I make the sales. But having internal links is great. It's not as good as backlinks, but it does help a lot. Backlinks are where you get links from like other websites. And some websites will let you just buy backlinks. Some websites will put you, on their website just because they're trying to grow. It kind of all depends.
Yeah, and I think those are some really fire strategies, bro, to be quite honest with you, dog. Like I noticed because I watch your content and I'll click on a video and it'll take me to the site, which I think is also really smart because then you can, it is attached to a blog, but it's a video there as well. And there's something on that Google has in its algorithm called time on site.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so since you have that video on that page and I'll sit there and watch it opposed to just taking you to the actual YouTube channel to watch it.
That's why I like the short and long form because the short form gets people like interested and they'll click on that, like, whatever blog post that I have linked to the short form. And then I have the long form video on that blog. So it gets them to stay on.
Yeah, dude, man, honestly, you throwing a jab and hitting them with upcut. Like like you hitting on all levels there. And so I think those are some really great strategies, bro. And when it comes to this is why I think you're at the level that you're at, because a lot of times when I was out there doing marketing sales and I would come across somebody who has a video production company, they don't really want to take the time to learn what you know. Because SEO.
Yeah, that's not the fun part of video production.
Yeah. But like what you're doing is you're separating you're separating yourself. So when you come on here and the first thing that you're talking about is SEO and how important it is through video, you practicing what you preach, and the fact that you can give a whole layout about how you should actually be posting and linking to your website, and also having links that goes to YouTube, and also have backlinks and different things. All you're doing right now is creating a huge gap between you and everybody who just wants to do video. And so if somebody's at home and they're watching this, even if you don't understand it, bro, save this video, Because when you get to the point where you got a website and you're trying to promote and you got social and you're trying to promote, he just literally gave you the blueprint on how to put everything together. And y'all can start whooping butt on the pages too. And I think what's so dope is because YouTube is actually the second largest search engine, bro.
Yeah.
You know, because Google bought YouTube. And so and I remember back, and I sound old when I say this, but back in the day, but maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, when you would do a search, it would show images.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You had to click on video to see the videos.
Well, I remember it wasn't even a video tab.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even a video tab, right? And I remember when they started and using video as a category for search, you did have to go to the video tab. And this one, I thought that was super huge. Now, it actually shows up as an attachment on the first page.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't even have to go to the video tab. Sometimes you could just see like the video has been actually indexed on the first page. And I think it's so dope because now I'm like, the more you're talking about it and you kind of like my theories that I had back in the day, they're kind of intersecting.
Yeah.
And video is so powerful. And so when you was, the young whippersnapper, did you know that video would like almost run the world, run brands, businesses, and be like a key piece into the success of that?
Honestly, when I got started, it was more like I was sort of in the television side. Like I worked at PBS, so I saw it as like I just want to work at a TV station and like just do almost what we're doing here today. Which I didn't see the industry changing so radically to where now everybody has their own TV station.
Right.
I honestly, I don't know. Cause back then, like this was like 2013 when I was working at PBS, and that was when my buddy introduced me to Instagram, and I didn't understand it. My buddy showed me Instagram. He's like, yeah, you can like post pictures. I was like, what's the point? Why are you posting pictures? I don't understand. Like, are you a photographer? He's like, no, it's not just photographers. It's just like people posting pictures of things. And it took me a while to wrap my brain around it. But then I started figuring out like, oh, people love to just kind of scroll on this mindlessly. And that's when it kind of clicked. Like, you have a captive audience here that you can put, advertisements in front of their eyeballs. And so once I realized that, it was like, okay, yeah, it does make sense. Like, this video thing is not going anywhere. It's time to start investing in gear and just like get really good at it. So I really just have a passion for it, regardless of whether it makes money or not. But not everybody does. But I had turned it into a business because I just knew like it was so fun and it was not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. So, bro, first of all, I just want to say like, that's so funny, the Instagram thing. Because I remember when I was like, I want to say like 14, 15.
Yeah.
And my auntie showed me Instagram. I was like, so what? like, bro, get it. She's like, you got to post pictures. I'm like, I don't want to post up. Who cares? Can't you just do that on Facebook? And now what you see what Instagram has turned into.
Yeah,
man. Like,
and there was a big switch when it went from photo to video.
Yeah,
that was maybe like 5-6 years ago. It was like probably the pandemic sped up the switch. It was starting before that though. I would say like 10.
Yeah, maybe
8 years ago is when I saw like video starting to become prevalent. But after the pandemic is when it started to become vertical video.
Yeah, the vertical switch.
Which I personally can't stand vertical video, but as a videographer, just because you get so much more context in the wide shot.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, it makes sense. Like, you got to get with the times. Like, people don't want to turn their phone sideways.
Yeah. Make it easy. Yeah. So I'm gonna take this chance to pick your brain, and I think this would also be like a dope hook for the podcast title. Let's make video easy.
Yeah.
So I remember like when I was getting into and I want people to understand it's a big difference between video production and content creation. That those two things is different, and we'll get into that. But for somebody that don't know, it's just video, And so like it was really hard. And so I'm gonna take this chance to just pick your brain into making video easy. So people, they get confused about gear and like aspect ratios and different things like that. So like for the person that's at home that don't know anything about video, what do you recommend that they do to get started in dabbling in video and then growing from there?
Yeah, I think the very first thing you do is just get yourself an iPhone. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Okay.
iPhone's definitely the best camera for a beginner. You can shoot and edit on it. It's good enough for most things. Like
Mhm.
tons of businesses are using just iPhones to market themselves these
Right.
days. I think it's totally fine to do that. Um, get yourself a mic. That would be like the only little tip for iPhone footage, just to make it way better.
Mhm.
Have a good mic. I noticed
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
mic,
Yep.
so that's great. Like just plug in a little, Rode Wireless Go or
Mhm.
some kind of wireless mic, and that's gonna just make it a little bit more premium. You don't get the echoey
Yeah.
sound and
Yeah.
everything.
And we'll get into audio.
Yeah,
We'll get to audio.
yeah.
Yeah. But that, like, for the video side, explain aspect ratios.
Yeah, so 16 by 9 is your typical like wide aspect ratio. That's what we're looking at right now. And then 9 by 16 is just that flipped
Mhm.
vertical. So those are your typical aspect ratios that everything is going to be shot and consumed in. There's other aspect ratios for like cinema and stuff, but your average person doesn't need to know about
It's just yeah. So what's so funny is because when I remember when I started actually creating video, one thing that I didn't know is that when you're using your phone to try to get video in your settings, sometimes it just defaults to like the 1:1 ratio, which is a
Oh,
square.
yeah.
So and then on that I had an Android at the time, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
So I had a Samsung. At the time it was a S21, so it was
Mhm.
probably one of the newer ones. But when I went to go post on Instagram, like, bro, my stuff look weird, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And there is like within Instagram, it'll
Mhm.
sometimes default to a square and you have to like
Yeah,
select the aspect ratio as you're posting, stuff like that.
yeah. And so like I didn't know
Yeah.
about aspect ratios. So then I was like, oh, what's 16 by 9?
Mm.
And then when I posted it, it was all chopped off at the top and the bottom. You
Yeah.
know, so that was a growing journey for me, is like understanding aspect ratios. And so okay, so that they got the iPhone, right? They learned about aspect ratios. Like, if you're gonna shoot for vertical, it should be 9 by 16.
Yeah.
If you're gonna shoot a YouTube video, it should be 16 by 9, which is landscape.
Yep.
All right, it's cool. So now talk to people about like backgrounds, because when they're trying to create, like, let's say if you're doing a YouTube video and you're doing a talking head,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like, dude, you the king of backgrounds.
Yeah.
You
Well,
really know how to put it together.
this one's set up by Spare Room Studios.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, Sparrow Studios.
But yeah, I think like having an interesting background is always gonna like make
Mhm.
your video stand out a little bit more. But lighting, I think, is even more important than your background. But
Got you.
I personally like to have sort of like a very even. You can see it's like everything's like a mirror. Like this side's a mirror of the other side. So
Mm,
I like to kind of have everything very symmetrical like that.
mhm.
But you can play around with it, do whatever you like. It's kind of like uh that's the funnest part to me, is just setting up the studio, setting up the look of what you're
Yeah.
trying to go for. But lighting, I think like you have to really take into consideration when you're setting up. So
Mhm.
a cool background is only going to be cool if it's got cool contrast. So like in this situation right here, you can see the background is much darker than us,
Yeah,
because we have the lighting with the grids hitting just us. I'm trying to control the light and not let it spill onto the background.
got you.
So, I mean that this is for a more studio look, but if you're trying to film like outside, put the sun behind you. Don't put the sun in your face, because you're just going to be squinting and you can't, like, it's
Mhm.
going to look bad.
Yeah.
So put the sun behind you. Like backlighting is always more cinematic.
So that's interesting that you say that, because a lot of times when I'm shooting, yeah, you're right, I do squint, but when I put the sun behind me, sometimes it doesn't look as good as when the sun is hitting my face. So
Yeah.
where are you at on that?
Um, I like to kind of find something where you're getting a bit of a bounce. Like
Mhm.
if you want to, you can bring a bounce board and just put it 45
Mhm.
degrees off to the side. The sun's going to hit it and bounce the light back
Yeah.
at you. But sometimes I'll actually like find, if you're just walking around outside trying to find a good place to record, you find a big slab of concrete that's going to reflect the light back up on you,
Mhm.
or like a concrete wall or something. It'll reflect the light. So use that as your sort of fill light.
Right, the
Or
one
key
the,
light,
the
really.
light up your face.
Mhm.
Yeah, so because sometimes if you see people, they'll go and they'll do a zoom, a Zoom call, and for some reason the window will be towards the back, and then it looks awful.
I always recommend have the window in the front, like coming towards you,
because it's like in your face. So walk me through it. So we talked about background, we talked about the lighting. Let's touch on audio, because I know you said like you mentioned mics. So if somebody's creating content, what kind of mic do you recommend? Is it something like this, or is it something that's more of the wireless side?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be more of like your podcasty look and feel. So these particular mics are going to get like a lot of bass and a lot of that proximity effect. So if I'm getting like really close to it, it like is extra bassy. But for your average person, like you're probably not going to need a mic like this unless you set up a home studio, which that a lot of people do that these days. I have my own home studio. I record a lot of my videos just like at my home studio in front of my desk. I have my light up here. I got a backlight, and then I got cool lights in the background. So anybody can make their own set at home if they wanted to go for that look. But if you're more of a like out and about type person, then your Rode Wireless Go, or Rode Wireless Pro. There's a bunch of them. Or like the DJI wireless mics, or there's a bunch of them. I bought some off of Amazon for $20 that sound really good. So
So and I think that's really important to mention too, because when I was starting out and I was trying to learn, like there's so many options for mics and audio. I was like, bro, which one do I buy?
And if you want, I can provide a list after this that you can put in the description.
Hell yeah,
so
man.
People can click on what to buy and stuff like that.
Dude, if he tells me to buy any kind of gear, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy it because I trust your advice. So we went through the lighting, we went through the backgrounds, we went through the audio. So from your mind, like, cause you're the pro, you're the expert. Walk me through the order of importance when you're setting either up a podcast, or you creating content, you trying to get everything together. Like, somebody worry about lighting first? Do they do the background first? So how do you set up? And what comes first, and then what's last?
So the very first thing when I'm thinking about a video is the content itself. So like, what is the video about? What are you trying to convey? I will spend time actually researching keywords and researching questions, because like that's what's going to rank you higher on Google, is answering questions. Google loves people answering questions for them, because if someone's searching, best videographer near me, or what should I hire a videographer for my wedding, something like that. Like if you answer that question, then Google's going to share that with the people searching. So and there's different websites to find questions that haven't been answered, because that's really like where the money is finding questions that haven't been answered yet. Very specific questions. And I use answerthepublic.com, that I paid for like a lifetime access to it, and it was maybe like $150, and I use that for all my clients to search for like, what questions can we answer that are going to get you views, get you ranked higher on Google, basically. And so that's why, like, I think a lot of people, they want to jump into like, it's got to look good, it's got to look amazing. Well, I mean, looking good is good. Like, if you're a big company, you definitely want to look good. Like, if you have more than 100 employees, you don't want to be out here filming on your phone. Like, it just doesn't look professional. So that's when you like bring someone like me in, and I will come to your business and film all of your content for you, stuff like that. But we're trying to get it so that, like, lower budget businesses can film high quality content, and that's really what it's about here at Spare Room Studios, is being able to film on a budget almost, because we're breaking it up into smaller time blocks for you, and you are just coming here. So it's like there's a lot less setup time for me, a lot less equipment moving around and stuff like that. So that's why it's good to just have a studio to go film at. If you yourself are filming, like, you can set up your own home studio. I think that's great. Like, everyone should probably do that to have good quality content, but it doesn't even match everybody's brand. So some brands, their aesthetic is better filmed out and about doing things and filmed on their phone. So like,
Yeah.
I think your very first thing, think about your content, come up with a good idea that's actually going to get you views and actually going to get some boosting your SEO and stuff. But then the next thing you think about is how are you going to capture that content? And I think just doing it with your phone and a microphone is a good way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get started.
So we got, think about which I think that's really, really great information. Is like, what is the video going to be about? And making sure that it's actually great information. Because I even talked about this on your podcast, which is called the content value. You can look as good as you want, but if your video is not delivering information, nobody's going to care. So put the value first, right? And so then, you got your phone and you got your mics, but like when you're doing the setup after you know what you're going to be, what the video is going to be about, do we focus on lighting first or do we focus on audio?
Audio first. Yeah. After you know what it's going to be about, audio is the very next thing that you should focus on. And then after that, I would say lighting. And then after that, the actual camera.
Yeah.
So I could film like something awesome and cinematic on a potato. You know what I mean? Like it'll turn out good because I have good quality audio, good quality lighting, and good angles. You know what I mean? So those three things are like the order. I think audio, lighting, angles is sort of the order in which you should sort of think about it, and then camera last. So that's why I say like you can film on your phone. Android's fine too. Like I just say iPhone because a lot of creatives use iPhones, but any type of phone these days films great quality.
And sometimes you just got to get started. But what's so crazy is because a lot of these phones have 4K cameras now. So just pick one. And then get started, because sometimes we want to show up as the best. And nobody's even really watching this in the first place.
I like to use the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but you guys don't have to get that one if you don't want to.
Hey, can I tell you something? Could I kind of cop out on myself real quick?
Sure.
Snitch on myself. I've been a Android guy for years. Man, bump them iPhones, F them iPhones. I'm loyal to the soil. I got an iPhone 17.
Did you?
I did for the content, man, because I was just curious, like, is it really that big of a difference? Because you do get to a point where you want to try to level up in the quality, and how you're showing up. And so I bought the iPhone, and it's a difference, man. It's a difference.
And iPhone, like, I like to think about it like this. So Apple has always been the company to create stuff for creative people. So they have like Apple ProRes. That's a codec for encoding video, and that's made by Apple. Samsung doesn't make codecs for encoding video. So that it's like, I kind of trust Apple in that respect, and it shows up when you're bringing it into the edit. Like I can tell if it's shot on an Android versus shot on an iPhone. There's just like more depth to the shot. You can shoot in log and like ProRes RAW and stuff like that. So like you can shoot in these amazing codecs on the phone if you want to have the extra fidelity to like edit and post. So basically Apple has like the awesome codecs for editing video. It makes it easier as a videographer, but I think it does come across, even for your average person just filming on the phone, like there's something special about an iPhone. I just like it.
Yeah, no, it is. And so, all right, we went over more of like the technical side, lighting, a lot of the basics, but to actually take what you know and then turn it into a business is a whole different thing. You have a lot of people who are experts at what they do, and they try to run a business and they can't. Because it's a whole different side of things, So talk to me about, like building up your business, man, because I see you working with a lot of corporate people. You going into Chicago, and obviously when everybody start, you got to start somewhere, and the point that you are now. So like, what was that growth like, man? Just kind of getting out there, like were you having pricing issues and different things like that? Because you right now, bro, you're established, dog. Like you that man.
I'd say like it was rough in the beginning, trying to figure out pricing and trying to just even get someone to hire me. But I started before like people even did video. It wasn't even really a thing to like have video of your business and stuff. So like when I started like started my business 10 years ago, actually 10 years ago tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's when I opened George Niksch Photography, which I got to go file my business entity report right after this. But yeah, so that that was sort of an advantage I had, I'd say, because there wasn't a lot of people who did video. There wasn't even a ton of freelancers who you even could hire. You almost had to like hire a studio to do video 10 years ago. So it was like when I was working, I took just any job I could get because I was like fresh out of college, like just trying to make ends meet. So I was working in a call center, and I kind of convinced them like, hey, we're bringing in a whole new class of 40 people every week. This place is growing really fast. It was the fastest growing startup at the time in Chicago. And so they were like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's do some little podcast type things. We didn't call it a podcast back then because we didn't know what podcasts were.
Just do a video.
I mean, podcasts were around, but not that popular. And we were just like, yeah, let's do like a little talk show. Okay. So we did, essentially it was a podcast, but I just had one microphone and one camera, and we had the host was like one of the managers, and she would just interview other managers in the company. And so just like talking back and forth like that. So it was essentially a podcast before podcasts. And because of doing that, they were like, you know what, do you want to like do some marketing videos for us? And I was like, yeah. So we did a couple marketing videos, and that kind of got a nice reel under my belt for corporate work of like proof that I can make you good quality videos, because I was just working in the call center doing this. Like they let me do it on the clock, so I was getting paid for it. That's nice, but not like proper rates of what I should have been charging. It's just like that was just to cut my teeth, get me like into the world of corporate video, basically. And I kind of I did that at the next company I worked at too. I ended up I got into IT in that company for a little while. Also doing our headshots and running our cameras for our meetings, because we would like broadcast to London and LA offices every Friday. So it was like a almost like Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, like the CEO was up there just like rallying the troops and stuff, and we'd be broadcasting that. So I was running like the cameras for that. So I was kind of doing video stuff at work, but I was like also on the IT side, I had to do a lot of just like fixing computers and stuff that I didn't really, it's fun, but I really just wanted to do video. And so I ended up getting into marketing after that at Starcom, Publicis Media, which at the time they were like the largest media company in the world. Publicis.
Starcom?
Publicis was. Oh, Publicis. They own Starcom, Leo Burnett, Digitas, a bunch of businesses. They own all of them. So like $1 out of every $3 spent on advertising went to Publicis Media.
That's crazy.
So I was on the Lego account and the Kellogg's account. We had Samsung, Leo Burnett does all the commercials for McDonald's, stuff like that. So I did the same thing there. I got to film with the CEO of Starcom. I got to film some marketing videos. I got to film for our pitch to keep the Lego business, all kinds of fun stuff. But that gave me, again, a good reel to sort of showcase I know what I'm doing in the corporate world. And it's like, once you get into the corporate world, then you're kind of like, people trust you. But if you don't have a reel for it, it's really, really tough to get into.
Yeah. So. Well, because from my perspective, like I said, I talk to people that say, hey, man, I try to start a business in videography, and they just couldn't do it, man. And because when you are working for a company, you don't have to go looking for the work, bro. It's just there.
Yeah.
And so when you step out on your own, now you got to go provide the work, you got to keep it coming. So how did you go about getting your first clients?
Well, other than, just working at these corporate businesses, that was really how I got my first clients, because
after like a cold call, cold email, did you run into them and say, hey,
those ones were because I was working there already, and I just told my managers, hey, I do video, let's film some videos. But and Starcom brought me back after I quit my job in marketing there and started my own business, or I should say went into business full time for myself, because I was I started this business 10 years ago, but I went into business full time 7 years ago. So like I was running the business on nights and weekends basically. But also they kind of were having me film at work too. So, but anyways, that and weddings were kind of like what got me started. I never really had to do any kind of cold calls or anything like that. Once I sort of got into the corporate side of things, I'll tell you why I really lucked out on that. But
Okay.
let's get to that in a second, because like weddings, I had been doing weddings since I was like 21. So like for 15 years I've been doing weddings, and that was because my neighbor or one of my friends who lived the next street over, I grew up with him, Matt Bigelow. He was a photographer. So I just like got into weddings because of him. Because he had me come help out a couple times on some weddings, and I was like, hey, I think I could do video for this. And people didn't really even get wedding videos back then. If they did, it was like you set up a camera in the corner and that's it.
So it wasn't no following you around, the getting ready with you.
Yeah, people didn't do that stuff. So like Matt had me, he kind of got me hired onto one gig where I was filming and he was doing photos for the wedding. And I was like, Matt, what do I film? I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, just film anything that looks like they spent money on it. And I was like, oh, okay. That clicked for me. So, and then my buddy Tasso helped me out with the filming and the editing. Cause me and Tasso have been filming skateboarding since we were kids. So, he also grew up the next street over. So, that was how I got into like the making money side of things. Like, okay, I can make some money on weddings. I was borrowing cameras from people to shoot weddings that when I first started.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
But like when it came to the corporate world, this is why I suggest people just like go get a job at some business. You don't have to like your job at first. If you're young, just like work a job and make some connections. Because while I was filming at in that call center, when I really did not like my job, but I was filming, and some guy popped his head in the room and he was like, hey, you film? You do video? I do video too. Add me on Facebook. I didn't talk to him for 5 years. And 5 years later, I announced on Facebook, okay, I'm quitting my job. I'm doing video full time now. And he contacts me that right after I posted that. And he's like, hey, I worked for this PR firm. I was doing all their videos, but I just got a job at Victory Records. Do you want to take over at the PR firm? And I was like, yes, let's do that.
Is that what you said? You did the one you looked up on?
Yeah, that's the one that I got super lucked out on. And they kind of that was Sam from Exclusive PR. She kind of really helped me establish my career, because she had all this video work that needed to be done, and her videographer now has a full-time job doing music videos basically. But so I came in, and that's what like got me really through that first year.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, bro. So you mentioned luck. What is your outlook on luck? Because me personally, I think we talked about, I don't believe in luck.
Yeah.
I call it like opportunity creation.
Yeah.
And because you talked about, you took a job, you interned, you did all the grunt work, and you grew, you learned, you got better, you started putting it down around that mug, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to the point where you made that post, and then this opportunity came. Do you think that was really luck, or do you think you created that opportunity for yourself?
Yeah, I mean it's a little of both. Like you're not gonna get lucky unless you put yourself out there. That's right. How it works. Like it's about being in the right place at the right time, and just like if you're the right person for the job, it's going to happen. But that's why I think like if you want to get into corporate video, you just go get a corporate job doing anything in a big city, and you just start making connections and keep telling everybody, hey, this is just my day job. Like I'm a videographer. This is what I do. And that's what I told everybody. I would tell my managers, I'm like, yeah, like this is not what I even spend most of my time doing. This job, like, sure, I was working here 40 hours a week. Well, I'm working 60 hours a week doing video. Yeah. So I'm actually working more doing video than I am at this other job. So it's like, I just kept putting it out there to everybody. You got to kind of manifest your own luck a little bit.
Yeah. You know, the reason why I don't say it as luck is because you had to do something after the opportunity came. We had a conversation one time. You told me during COVID, people were trying to do live streaming and they were using a guy who was hot booty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you went in there and you killed it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work you did before that happened. And then in this situation, hey, you know, I got this PR lady and she needs a guy. Yeah. Somebody can say, oh, it's lucky because you got the opportunity. It ain't lucky if you keep it.
Yeah.
You already did the work to keep it.
I'll say that one for the pandemic with the live stream, they needed someone to live stream. I had been live streaming for years because of just playing video games. I would live stream video games with my buddy.
Yeah.
And so I was already primed for live streaming. I had already like bought some gear for live streaming, not knowing that I would even use it for work. I just wanted to play around with it. And then the pandemic hit right after I got that gear, actually. And it just worked out. But also when I was sitting around, like I didn't have work during the pandemic. I wasn't sitting around doing nothing. I was going to all my musician friends and asking them if I could do mini documentaries just to showcase my work without any kind of like, if you work in the corporate world, there's always someone breathing down your neck telling you how to edit.
Yep.
And so I wanted the complete creative freedom. And so like that series ended up being some of my best work, I think. And it
was your best work because you were so passionate about it?
Yeah. It was because I was passionate about it and because I had complete creative control, creative
to do
freedom.
what you want. Yeah.
And I spent that time doing all those because I noticed my lighting was not up to par. So I basically was like, all right, we need to get better at lighting. So how do you do that? Trial and error. Like watching lighting videos on YouTube, trying it out, and you know, just keep doing that until you get it right.
Dude, okay, so I'm gonna unpack this for the people that's watching. Let's listen to this. This is why this is called the Champions Club, bro. Because like, you know, I look at you right now, right, as the George Niksch, like you're the guy, right? And to hear that you're talking about, you know, first off, to how do I get better lighting? You know, it's through trial and error. So you actually put in the work. So if you guys out there, you want to do video production and actually make it a company, do the hard stuff. Go fail. Is what you're saying. You failed and you got better.
And even like that series I did, the first episode, I shot it twice because the first time I wasn't happy with the lighting.
See, and that's like the perfectionist side of things, right? Yeah. Like you like, no, that's not good. Let's redo it, right? Let's run it back. Yeah. Then you also talked about like watching a YouTube video and then taking what you learned and then going to go implement that. A lot of people won't do it. Won't do that. Yeah. They'll do trial and error for so long. Yeah. Bro, just go take the time to do the research.
I will say when I was like kind of getting started in video 10 years ago, this was after I'd already worked at PBS and I felt I had the basics down, but I was shooting on camcorders at PBS. That's like 10 years ago is when I bought my first mirrorless camera. It was the Lumix GH4. And that's when I started like experimenting with cinematic type stuff because you couldn't really get cinematic on a camcorder. But once DSLRs like the 5D Mark II was really the introduction for video in a cinematic body, like where you could have interchangeable lenses, like photography lenses. But yeah, the GH4, I never even used a DSLR in my life. I've never used one because I started on mirrorless, which is crazy. There's still people who are like switching to mirrorless to this day. And I'm like, I had one of the first mirrorless cameras, which was the GH4. And at least that was probably the first one that shot 4K. And where was I going with that?
Well, you're saying that's like basically, you know, like the trial and error type thing. Like you just
yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was gonna say. So when I got the GH4, I think I might edit that part out. Let me just wave my arm so I can see it in the edit. But yeah, so basically, like when I got the GH4,
I'm sorry, that's actually a pro move what you did. That's how I tell you spend a lot of time editing. Oh yeah, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. Like when we used to skateboard, you would if after you get the clip, you cover the lens and record just black video of your hand covering the lens. And so when you're in the edit, you know, okay, the shot right before that black video is the good take. That way you don't have to go through 1,000 takes to see.
So much game you giving. That's smart.
But so when I got the GH4, I literally took the manual. I read the manual cover to cover, and every single thing in that manual I tried to do. So every little feature that the camera had, I would test it out to see if I could like use that. Like, could I do the time lapse? Could I do whatever weird little feature it has? I would try every single thing on there. And then I would watch YouTube videos, and I would just watch like tutorials about certain effects or certain ways of shooting, lighting obviously too. But I would try to emulate every single YouTube video I watched. I would shoot a little video trying to emulate that type of shot or whatever they were explaining in the video. So I spent years just like watching YouTube and testing it out. Like even when I worked those corporate jobs, when I was, I'd be filming there, but I would also go on my lunch break and try out to film one of these like types of shots or whatever. And so like I was working lunch breaks, nights, weekends. I'd be filming stuff in the morning. I'd be filming it. I would film from the train sometimes. I'd edit on the train every day. So like any little spare bit of time I got, I would like try to throw that some kind of like learning into that, just because I was so passionate about video.
Yeah. You know what? So check this out, bro. I'm like almost baffled by your amount of dedication and persistence and the hustle and grind. I was watching a video actually before I came onto your podcast the first time. It was the one that you had on your website about you. And you talked about literally.
I shot that a while ago now.
Yeah, you literally had the COVID mask on and everything, right? You had the little side cut, Yeah. But in that video, dude, this is how I knew that I wanted to reach out to you to be on the podcast, right? Because when I watched that video, I seen a guy that literally you so passionate about what you do, and if there's an answer, you're gonna go find that answer. But you didn't go find the answer because somebody gave it to you. You found the answer because you worked to find the answer.
Yeah.
And it was you were telling a story about how you would actually borrow cameras, shoot a wedding. You would drive to Indianapolis, go to camera, and drive to Chicago, go shoot, drive back and return it. That's dedication. Then you talked about moving back in with your parents, because you said you ran out of money, and you had to you live with your parents and stuff like that, man. So what do you like? That's a journey, bro. And look at where you are now.
Yeah.
Like what did that time period of your life do for you? As far as experience, mindset, growth.
I mean, as far as mindset and stuff, it definitely it got me to where I won't sit back and like wait for things to happen, and it keeps me hungry and humble. You know what I mean? Because there's always ups and downs in this business. So that's why you have to be good at saving too. You really do have to like save money for, taxes. That's a big one, but also save money for the rainy days. You could go a couple months with having like virtually no work just for whatever reason, like the economy's going down, COVID. COVID was, that one almost put me out of business completely, but, I had to pivot. So that's what saved my business during COVID, was pivoting into live streaming, pivoting into like the multicam stuff. So like you always got to be, if you want to stay in this business, you always got to be ready to pivot. It's changing constantly. Even now, like I'm pivoting into podcasting because that's just what's popular. The days of like, honestly, even covering events are kind of going away because of phones being good enough. I can't tell you how many like events I used to cover that are now being covered by somebody with a phone just filming it, and they're like, "Nah, it's good enough. Like, we don't care. We don't want to spend the money for a proper video because it's just like budgets are tight. It is what it is. I'm not gonna complain about it. I'm just gonna change what I'm doing. Like pivot over to a studio setting where I can offer like a cheaper in terms of costs for the client, but better return. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, dude, you're exactly right, and that's every business, but especially through video, something that's constantly changing, something that's constantly like just getting better. Like you got to be on top of it, and I always get that vibe from you, bro. Even watching that video that's on your website, like, man, you a tough dude. You're a tough dude. And so for anybody that's at home, and they're in a situation where they're kind of going through the ups and downs trying to get started, what would you say to them to get over that hump of maybe, trying to get started and not having enough money, maybe not being able to get a camera, everything that you were going through? What message would you
Yeah.
say to them?
I would say just keep learning as much as you possibly can and do what you can with what you have. Like, it's not entirely about your gear that you have. Gear is like the last thing on the list as far as like making content and just making something that's gonna benefit your business. So like I think if you're trying to get into video, trying to become a videographer, buy what you can while you can. Keep working your job until you absolutely like have the money coming in from the video side. Don't just, some people just jump off and they just hope and wish that things are going to happen. But you like how I got into it was working nights and weekends for years. So like I basically was working for doing video on the side for like 5+ years before I finally started doing it full time. And not having to work another job. So definitely just like keep grinding at it, keep doing what you can with what you have, invest back into your business if you want the quality to improve. You have to invest in lights and mics and cameras and all that stuff. But stay up to date with all the technology changes, because this stuff changes so quickly. If you're not making money off of that camera that you just bought, you kind of just threw away a bunch of money, because
That's a good
like
point.
these cameras are very, very expensive. I mean, they're way cheaper than they were when I was younger, but
money's money.
The money's money. And like, if they're not giving you a return, then you're not making money as a business. And if you file for an actual like LLC and create a business, you have to be making money after, within, the IRS will let you lose money for a couple years, but if you're still losing money 5 years into it, they're going to say it's not a legit business. Like you're done. So, you pretty much like want to have the revenue in mind before you invest into gear and stuff. So I think there's plenty of people that have media companies now where they just film everything on their phone for their clients because they have the strategy down. That's the big thing, is having that. And you're really good at the strategy. That's why like Stronger Version Media is going to do well.
I appreciate it.
You got the strategy down and you know how to get views. So getting views is like what's going to get the return. So you really have to think about it in terms of, I'm trying to help someone boost their business. I'm trying to get them a return on their investment. So that's how you deal with pricing and everything. And pricing is a little bit of a trial and error. I'll be honest. Like you start off at a certain price and you're working that for a while, and then you realize, oh, I have all these expenses I didn't even realize I was incurring, and it turns out I'm not really making any money, so I got to increase my prices. So everybody's pricing is different because everybody uses different gear. Everybody has different models for making it work, and some people can make it work and make less money. Some people can't. So it's a delicate balance. Getting into it, and delicate balance with pricing, delicate balance everywhere around it. Like you really have to think about like every aspect of business. That's what makes successful videographers and non-successful videographers, is just knowing the business side of like, how much do I realistically need to charge in order to make make money on this? How much can I spend on gear this year and still like be making money, like I said. So that side of it, and just like knowing how much you need to put into your marketing to get it going. When I first started, I did do a lot of free videos. I did free videos for businesses. There was several videos I did for businesses in the Crown Point Square, like for Sip Coffee House, that blew up, got a bunch of views. So doing a free video can be a good way to get your name out there and showcase what you can do if you don't have like a great reel. But I'd say like nail down your lighting and audio and all that stuff. Nail down the look in your spare time at home before you get on the set with that client. Even if it's a free client, you want to make sure you're giving them a top-notch quality product. Otherwise, there's no point of you
show up like they paid you. Yeah. When I was renting photo booths, I had to start off doing some free stuff. And bro, you want the question to be like, oh my gosh, this dude was so good. You know, how much better would it be if I actually paid him? Instead of, man, that dude was so bad, I'm glad I didn't pay him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like they be like, when they like, whoo, thank God we didn't pay this dude, they feel like they dodged the bullet. That's when you know you slipping. So I'm gonna shift really quick because I'm gonna get into this before we wrap up. You know, right now in the video world, you have, you know, videographers, and then you got content creators, right? And now at first it kind of started, at least from what I was seeing in the wedding side, right, where you had the content creators. Hey, I just follow you around with my phone, and it's genius because some people that I know that do it, there's no post editing. You just follow around, give the bride and groom the raw footage, and then they might add some reels. They might put some songs to it and do it, you know, bam, just go do it. And so now I'm also seeing that even on the corporate side, that there are some people, they're hiring people that come in to get content from the phone. And then their question is, you know, like, why would we come pay a videographer and stuff like that? So when it comes to content creation versus videography, to that, you would say what?
Yeah, when it comes to content creation versus videography, I think as a business hiring that, they need to weigh the pros and cons between how much they want to spend versus what kind of look they're going for, what kind of return they're going to get on it. So the bigger the business, I think the more professional you want all of your content to look. If you're really, like I said before, if you're a really big business, over 100 employees and stuff, you're pretty much going to want to hire a videographer for all of your content. I don't recommend you doing anything on a phone at that point because you're so big. You're showing to your competition and also potential clients that, like, we actually care about how we look. Like, you don't show up looking like a slob at work, you know what I mean? So it's like
people gonna treat you how you look.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you have the budget, spend it. Like it's worth it. Yeah, I do think it's worth it for most businesses if they have the budgets and they can make it work. But if you don't have the budgets, then go ahead and just have an intern film your stuff on their phone. You can film it on your phone yourself. Small businesses got to start somewhere. So I think, like, there's nothing wrong with hiring a content creator. Like, they both serve their purpose. A content creator is still probably going to get you just as many views, maybe even more views. I've heard arguments where, like, things filmed on your phone perform better for certain industries. It kind of depends, but like I've heard even bands tell me that, like, their audio, if they use like a room audio, like a mic just set in the middle of the room, it performs better on TikTok than if they have a proper mix coming out of the board, which is strange. But there is phenomenons like that where, like, if it's too polished, then they almost don't trust you. So it kind of, you have to weigh the pros and cons. And I think it's good to do a healthy balance of both if you can swing it, which is why, like, here, we got the podcast studio. It's a great supplement to your content to have a podcast where you can answer a bunch of your FAQs in a nice polished look like this. I think that's a great addition to what you're also doing where you're out and about filming on your phone. Mix them together. Like, having more than one look is I think keeps it interesting, keeps people wanting to watch. But yeah, even in the wedding side, like, the content creation is honestly a different type of video, a different type of content for the wedding side than what your traditional highlight edit and your long form of your ceremony reception multicam. So, like, if you love that polished premium look of the highlight edit and, like, the multicam for your ceremony reception, like, a lot of people, that's their biggest day of their life, so they want to have, like, this nice polish. They spent so much money on all this, they want it to look good. But if you have a strong presence on social media, that's when you hire the content creator, because you're trying to get this content out to your audience quickly. So the content creator will do that because they can film it on their phone. They can pump out the content a little bit quicker than someone who has to, go back and edit it, make it all polished and everything.
So you want to know what's crazy? So I'm I'm gonna weigh in. I'm gonna jump in. Tag me in. Tag me in. All right. So check this out. For the business side, like corporate. And I know because like when I did marketing sales, we used to go in and shoot videos for some of these companies. And to be real, bro, nowhere near on the level of you, right? So when you are hiring a videographer, and like let's say like one of the bigger companies that you were talking about, you're gonna want to go with a videographer because how deep the well is and the knowledge and information that they have opposed to a content creator. So when I say that, like when you talked about the field lights, you got the key lights, you got the background lights. Not only do you understand lighting, but you also understand audio. Not only you understand audio, you understand how to get the audio to the camera. You see what I'm saying? And so it's so much other things that go on there. Like we're looking at this screen right now, like content creators are not doing it. And I'm not dissing, but I honestly believe like, you know, cause when I would try to sell video, they would say, hey, we know we got Kelly that we just hired from Purdue, and you know, she gets stuff with her phone. Kelly ain't doing this, bro.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like when you level up, because not only are you, it's like a different quality of output from the video, but then it's also the amount of ease that you would get, because like they're paying for peace of mind. You know, when George come on that thing, your audio is going to be tapped in. You're going to sound like you said that the bass, you got it really, you're picking up really good audio. Your cameras is doing it. Then you getting the quality of the cameras. You can just look here and see that everything's not, you know, that you're paying for all of that, and you understand all of that. You know what I mean? And then you also know the editing side, opposed to, you know, if they're just a content creator, they don't. I know a lot of content creators, bro. They don't understand lighting.
Yeah,
you know, they don't understand like all the.
That's why, like, I kind of like to say it like your average videographer can be a content creator if they wanted to. They have so much more knowledge that they can charge a premium price, so they do. So again, like I think your content creator is very like good. Like it can definitely help your business, because they a lot of times are really good at getting views. They know what sells and what doesn't. But if you want to step up that game, like, so for instance, one of my biggest clients is Levenfeld Pearlstein, and they want a premium look on everything that they do, because they're, you know, one of the bigger law firms in Chicago. So they want it to be represented in like the most pristine way. So that's why they bring me on to film all their podcasts, film all their marketing videos. They have actually tried to hire some other people, other videographers, and they just didn't have the knowledge of lighting that I did. The one guy didn't even bring any lights, but so they basically told me, okay, we're just going to stick with you. We're only going to, we're going to fly you out to these places if we need to, stuff like that. So, and that's something like, if you're a bigger company, like, and you have a good videographer, hold on to them. Don't let them go, because not every videographer, they're not all created equal. They're not all like really good at what they do. Some of them, you know, don't put 110% in the way that like I would, you know. So.
Yeah, and that's facts, because I've seen it. And like the when you go watch a YouTube channel and you show the podcast setups and breakdowns, I love those videos, because I honestly I have an interest now in podcasting and lighting, but it's showing that you're the authority and the expert. But then I think it's really cool, bro. You actually show the output of like what they look like. You know, and you would throw some of that in there. I'm like, bro, man, they looking good, you know? And so and I see you put it together. And then when you look at it on the wedding side, if, like you said, it's probably one of the biggest moments that somebody's going to have in their life, wouldn't you want a long form video of that?
I would.
Opposed to just going and seeing a bunch of short 30-second clips.
If I'm already spending 50 grand on the wedding, what's another $5 grand for
And so, like, I do think that, like you said, bro, it is a balance. But lately, you know, since I'm getting into this, I'm a content creator. You know what I mean? I don't know half of the first half of what you know. And when I look at it, I think that we have to stop trying to push out videographers like the old dogs. You know what I mean? Like they're not as valuable anymore. Like, bro, y'all not Blockbuster. You see what I'm saying? I think, and I feel like that's almost what's happening in the video industry right now. It's like they're trying to treat videographers like they Blockbuster. And then what you were talking about is then when they go to level up, who you gonna go to? You know, you're gonna go to the guy that understands all these things, bro. But man, I just think you got a deep well of information, and I think you just top tier what you do, dog.
Thank you. Appreciate
Seriously.
it.
Shoot. But with that being said, man, we'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. Dude, thank you for spending the time and teaching the audience and teaching me. Where can people find you? Where can they get in contact with you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, if you want to find me, just go to lakeshorevideo.com. You can email me, george@lakeshorevideo.com, and you can call me or text at 219-776-6035.
Dope. All right, man. So to wrap this up, this video has been brought to you by Lakeshore Video. This is Mike's. We using the camera because I usually rock out with a mobile podcast set up with my phone. So thank you for letting us borrow your gear. And also, this video is brought to you by Spare Room Studios in Chesterton. This is their space. This is their setup. If you're looking to level up in your podcast, I'm looking at this camera. If you're looking to level up in your podcast game, if you're looking just to have a space, maybe you don't have enough space at home and you need some place to create, man, hit up Spare Room Studios. Deuces. Thanks, bro. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I learned a lot, dude. You a smart man. Dude.